Hey everyone, welcome to episode 344, Sharing Good News. Welcome to the Harmony in the Home podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Hutchison. I'm a counselor, a life coach, and most importantly, an imperfect mom doing this work right along with you. And my goal on our podcast is to go from chaos to calm, feel less frazzled, and have more fun within your four walls to have more harmony in your home. Hey everyone, so I want you to listen to someone who has been teaching for 30 years and she uses this strategy and it works 100% of the time. So she has a lot of good evidence here. This is from the TikTok. Ann J. Campbell, Campbell, has 530 likes. I can't tell how many views it has. But I will tell you, teachers have a good finger on the pulse, so to speak, of what works and what doesn't for kids, because all kids are the same. Kids are kids are kids are kids. I've worked at so many different schools. I've worked at so many different age levels, and they all want the same thing. They want to be appreciated, loved, just like grown-ups. They're just little mini grown-ups, but they don't have the behavior management and the self-control, and they don't have a lot of the skills that we have or try to have as adults. I know I try to have them, but sometimes I fall flat. And so this technique works 100% of the time, and she's used it for 30 years. Before I play it for you, I want to talk to you real quick about Herbal Face Food. It's a great way to support the show and keep the podcast free from a paywall, and it will make your skin look super soft and supple, no matter what your age is. I was born in 1974 and the wrinkles are coming and my skin, sometimes with the sun damage, looks a little rough. So this has helped me so much to reduce the sun damage and smooth out my skin for fine lines and wrinkles. So go to herbalfacefood.com. You can get whatever you want. I suggest the soap or the cream. Those are probably my two favorites. And then the serums. I love the serums. Level 1, level 2, level 3. They're all so good. I like getting the starter pack to start. Obviously, that's a great way to start because it's called the starter pack. But you can get whatever your heart's desire, and it's a great way to put a tip in the tip jar. Use the coupon code HARMONY20 for 20% off your first order, and I promise you will be so happy you did. Okay, so this is from Ann J. Campbell from TikTok. She's absolutely amazing, and she offers so many things that can help you, and this is just one strategy that I think will help you. And we'll talk about on the other side of it.
Hello, this is your passionate teacher, and I just want to share something that I have used for 30 years to reach the really hard to reach child, the one that's disrupting the class, the one has been a chronic behavior problem. And this has worked for me for 30 years, so 100% of the time. I've never had it not work. So what I do is I try to find the student who is coming to me and has been in a lot of trouble. They're notorious. Everybody knows them. The kids say, "What do you get so-and-so coming up?" Or the teachers go, "Oh my gosh, this child." And people say, "Well, you shouldn't know ahead of time. You should give them a clean slate." No, knowledge is power. Don't use it against them, but everything that you can find out about this child will help you reach them. So I find the child that I keep hearing about, and I go to the teachers that had him before, and I say, "I know he was difficult, but can you tell me anything good?" And they might say something like, "Well, yeah, he's a good football player, or he's a good artist, or he's can sing well," just anything. And so then when the child shows up to my room the first day, I ask him, "Are you say his name is Johnny. Are you Johnny?" Yes. "I've heard about you." Well, immediately he thinks, "Oh, great. She's going to start saying, 'You're not going to give me any trouble. I know you're bad.'" And I go, "You're that good football player." And their facial expression changes. And they go, "Yeah, I guess." So, "Oh, no, I heard you're really good. And I want a schedule of your football games if you will get it to me because I want to come watch you play." Well, immediately you're off to a good start. And then you catch him being good and you brag on him. And then you tell him, "If you act like this all week, I'm calling your mom or your dad, or I'm emailing your mom or dad." And they immediately go, well, I'm not doing anything. I said, "Yes, you are. You're doing your work, and you're behaving, and you're being respectful, and they need to know that." So it's going to be a good news call or a good news email. I promise you, they've never had one. And what happens when you call is the parent won't even answer the phone because they see the school caller ID and they just don't want to hear it. They heard it every year. Maybe he's in the 6th or 7th grade. And so I've even heard a mom in the background saying, when the child said it's Channing's teacher, said, well, tell her that I'm at the grocery store. So I say, okay, when your mom gets back from the grocery store, tell her I'm going to call to tell her some really good things about her child because he's just been so good. And what do you think happens when I call back in 10 minutes? The phone doesn't even ring a full ring. This was before cell phones, and she snatched it up and hello. And when I told her the good stuff, she got real quiet. I thought she had hung up or fainted or something. And finally I heard sniffling, and then I realized she was crying. She said, he's 13. No one's ever said a nice thing about my child. So anyway, all that child did the rest of the year was try to get another phone call. So he behaved so well. Now, I still got trouble other places. She was also a partner now. So if I needed her for something, because he did something with another teacher or the principal, she would answer the phone and talk to me about it. The other thing that I would warn about these phone calls, if the child has really been notorious and never had a phone call like that, the mom or dad might not know what to do with it. And the reason I say this is I got a new boy who was acting up, and I called him out and made a plan. I said, if you can improve from this and this, I'll give you a good news phone call. Well, he was really being good, and I said, his name was Jeremy, and I said, Jeremy, if you keep this up, I'm going to call your mom this weekend. And he forgot about our deal, and he went, what am I doing? And Gabriel said, he had a good news phone call, said, oh, no, man, you want her phone calls. Her phone call got me a go-kart. I called that mama and said Gabriel was doing really well. She went right out that day and bought him a go-kart. So you have to help these parents with what is an appropriate reward, because now I say, I know you're proud of him, so maybe you could go out and get pizza tonight, or let him pick the dessert, or have a friend to spend the night, or call and brag on him in front of grandmother. And I almost want to say, but please don't go get him a game system. Get him a video game, but don't go out and get a motorbike or a 3-wheeler, okay? Because that doesn't fit this. So anyway, I hope this helps. It has been so powerful for me, because the child the rest of the year is trying to get that second one. Plus, he likes me because I called and bragged on him. Now, they still get in trouble in other classes because they're doing the traditional thing of writing them up, calling the parent, and complaining. And, I heard a speaker one time that said they called the parent the first day of school and said, Johnny's being bad. And he said, teacher, don't call my class again. I had him all summer and I didn't call you one time. So if the parent can make him behave, they would, but they can't. And so they can't make him behave at their house. How are they supposed to make him behave in our classroom? So, you kind of do the opposite of what they expect. They expect you to fuss at them and send a bad email. But if you flip it and catch them being good and send a good one, they'll just try to be better and better and better, and you'll have a good year with them. So I hope it works.
Now you're probably wondering, Kelly, I'm not a teacher. I don't have random students that are giving me a hard time. I can't control my little ones. Like, what do I do? The same exact thing that she's talking about. Now, if they're younger, you can do a good news phone call to your spouse while they're at work, while they're in earshot, or you can call them together and say, oh, I did this. I was a good listener at whatever it is, that the task that's very tangible, that's very measurable, because I don't like to label kids good or bad, because then they start believing that and then they become that. Whatever you tell your kids over and over and over, they will become that. So it's almost like a way to become a self-fulfilling prophecy in a positive way. And our brains, I will tell you this, our brains go to the negative 80% of the time without mind management. So it doesn't mean that you're a negative person. It doesn't mean that something's wrong with you, or doesn't mean because of your parents, you're the way that you are and there's no fixing it. None of that matters, because just know if you had the most perfect childhood and you had the most perfect brain and they were studying you in a lab because your brain was so perfect and healthy, your brain would still go to the negative 80% of the time without mind management. It's still going to go to the negative. Because the brain is always looking to seek pleasure, avoid pain, and be efficient. So it's actually trying to protect you by looking for danger because it doesn't want to get hurt. So whenever you see things in your kids, like think about if your niece or nephew or your cousins or someone you're babysitting, if they're going through something, the level of worry and thinking about it that you do is very low. When it's your own kids, it's much higher. The reason is because your brain is trying to protect you. It does not want to get hurt, so it's always trying to nip things in the bud. So just know that that's completely normal, and then you just redirect your brain and you spend equal airtime on the other side. So if you're overthinking about your kids and their issues or their grades or their sports or their friends or their lack of friends or their manners or their lack of manners or their behavior, or spend equal airtime on the other side as well. Overthink about the goodness about them, and then you will see more goodness in them, and then you will catch them with their goodness and remind them over and over and over of their goodness in very tangible ways. So then they start to become and believe it. So instead of saying, you're being such a good listener in the store, you could say something like, if they're younger and they're getting antsy, look at you with your solid feet. They're like, are your feet glued to the ground? You're standing so still and waiting in line, and waiting is hard for me. How are you able to wait like that with your feet planted on the ground, glued to the ground like that, and not get impatient and not get squirrely? Because sometimes I get squirrely and all I want to do is go on my phone. See, I'm having this conversation. I'm also normalizing that it's normal to feel squirrely, but their feet are planted on the ground and they're waiting patiently, even though it's hard. So you catch them when they're making good choices, I like to say, better than being good or bad, so to speak, and you reinforce it. Just like when you're teaching them how to pee-pee on the potty, you catch them going pee-pee on the potty, and sometimes it's by accident. You might just have them watch. One time I had one of my kids just watching a movie, and they just randomly were sitting on the potty, and they just randomly went while they were sitting on the potty, and I was like, you just went pee-pee on the potty? And they were just like, I did? Okay, thanks, and that feels good. Just like we want to be praised, and we want to be appreciated, and we want to be loved on, and we want to be looked at for our goodness while we're at work or with our spouse or our siblings or our kids want the same thing. And so the good news phone call is a great way to remind us that whatever we tell our kids over and over and over, they will become. So we have to be very conscientious of what we're telling them. And the number one way to change behavior, whatever the most irritating thing that your kid is doing, think about what that irritating thing is, then think of the opposite of that, what you want to see. Catch them doing that. Set them up for success where it's almost embarrassingly how easy it is for them to do the thing that you're talking about, and then reinforce that. That is the number one way to change behavior. It is not natural, though. Your brain will not do it just by living your day-to-day life. You have to be conscientious about it. You have to focus on what they're doing right, catch them doing it right, and then reinforce that over and over. But the brain looks for problems. The brain looks for the negative. The brain looks for worry. The brain looks for fear. That's when it's on default. So that's what conscious parenting is. It's not letting them get away with anything they want to. It's catching them in their goodness, reinforcing that, telling them, reminding them, then they believe it themselves, and then they become it themselves. And you're not really having to tell them when they're older because they already believe it themselves. And that's a great way to create confidence as well, too. So let me know how this works for you. And I promise when you do this and you shift your brain to look for the good, you will find more good and you will have much more harmony in the home. I love you guys. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Hey mamas, thanks for listening. If you had any ahas, clicks, or those lightning bolt moments while listening, you have to check out my free parenting bootcamp, where we take all of this to the next level and we try to create even more awakenings for ourselves so that we can connect more with our kids and never yell at them again. You can sign up at www.coachingkelly.com. And if you really want to fill up my love cup, send me an email of what your aha was, what your click was. What was that lightning bolt moment while you were listening? I want nothing more in life than for you to have harmony in your home and to learn how to be an imperfect mom like me, which allows your kids to be imperfect too, each and every day. Thanks for listening.